for me?
You can go wherever you like.
Can I? Can I sit there?
If you want.
Really? It doesn't matter? I'll stand.
We were waiting for you.
Were you actually?
Yeah, we were. Because you said 3 minutes.
It was 4.5.
Okay, so we will call this meeting to order of the Police Committee dated Wednesday, March 22nd, 2022. And I'd like to begin this meeting by acknowledging that we are gathered on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territories of the Inklakatmuks and Syilx people. And we'll move right to the adoption of the minutes. I need a mover and a seconder that the minutes of the Police Committee meeting held on September 24th, 2021 be adopted. Okay, and errors or omissions? All in favor? Opposed? None. And the voting members are who again, Greg, just so that we all know who is voting?
It's just the three of you, your worship.
Okay. That we got. Well,
That was vote on the motions before you, so that's the two council appointees. Everyone else here is to provide you advice, input, assessments, information themselves.
thank you. So there are no delegations. There is no unfinished business, and we'll move right into 6.1, the RCMP and the CPO update. And Sergeant Josh Rhoda, you're up first, and then Marlene Jones will follow.
Thank you, Mayor Brown. Thank you for having us this afternoon. The following update is in respect to the Merit Detachment Strategic Plan from October 1st, 2021 to February 28th, 2022. The current plan expires at the end of this fiscal year, which for us is March 31st, 2022. During the past months, especially November and December, the Merit Detachment experienced significant policing challenges, from manpower issues to dealing with the Merit floods. These unexpected challenges took away from the detachment's ability to work toward our strategic plan goals. However, due to a strong push the past couple of months, it's looking like we're on track to meet the goals for the end of the fiscal year. I'm going to start with substance abuse. In 2021, the community of Merit saw an increase in overdoses, specifically related to fentanyl and benzodiazepines. This information was gathered from the BC Centre for Disease Control. By local health areas, the highest rates of death due to overdose were in Merritt, Upper Skeena, Enderby, Lillooet, and North Thompson. And this information was gathered from the government of BC. I can also note that we've had 8 community members pass away in 2022 from overdoses already. So, well, it has been stated before, this is a health crisis. The Merit RCMP recognized their role in that crisis, and that is education and enforcement. So part of that to update is our community police officer is currently working toward implementing an opioid pilot project in Merritt that would see the Merit Detachment becoming a distribution center for naloxone kits. Officers will be trained to teach community members how to administer the kits, and then the kits would be handed out to our vulnerable community members. The Merit General Investigation Section has been and is continuing to target offenders involved in our local drug trade. This has and will continue to be a top priority for that unit. While we cannot speak to specific targets or projects, the unit has made significant strides in intelligence gathering and will be executing search warrants on properties in the coming months. So we should be able to update the community when those warrants are executed. I'm going to move to road safety. Over the reporting period, October 1st to February 28th, Merit RCMP frontline officers initiated 201 contacts with motorists due to driving infractions. This number does not include vehicles stopped during check stops or interactions at collisions. The contacts resulted in 54 motor vehicle act tickets, 123 warnings, 12 impaired drivers taken off the road, and 4 prohibited drivers caught. Our community police office covered 38 locations with Speed Watch and monitored the speed of 462,000 vehicles. They were able to return to regular deployments following the floods. The focus was placed on several of the shifted school zones, including CMS and locations associated to the Crossroads Community Church. Contribution to business safety from October 1st to February 28th in Merritt. Officers had 24 documented contacts with local businesses. These numbers are down, but are largely due to the closure of businesses during the flood. So business break and enters are basically straight across from last year. They haven't increased or decreased. The community police office still has outstanding crime prevention through environmental design assessments due for 3 businesses, which are planned to be completed this spring. These were put off due to the flood. Moving to downtown safety, from October 1st to February 28th, again, merit officers specifically documented 195 downtown patrols, some of which included some patrols through the Phase 4 area. We just started reporting on patrols through the Phase 4 area about 2 weeks ago, so those numbers are going to continue to rise. These patrols are due to increase police visibility, the hope to decrease calls downtown related to public intoxication and drug use. And we do recognize the concerns of citizens in the Phase 4 area with the break and enters that have been reported. We put out a media release today encouraging citizens to look at crime prevention through environmental design on their properties. We've seen a 100% increase in break and enters in the Phase 4 area this year to last year, which is significant. A lot of those break and enters are due to citizens leaving their properties insecure. And so a part of our job is to educate the public, and we need to do a better job at educating the public on how to secure their properties. So that's a campaign we just started today through the media, and we'll probably continue that down the road. We also reached out to the Princeton detachment today to find out some information, and I pass this on to Sean. Is it okay, Sean, if I steal your thunder on that piece? So we reached out to Princeton and learned that they had actually received 24/7 funding for security through the province. So that was passed on to the city here, and I believe the province is now going to support the community of Merritt receiving 24/7 security in the Phase 4 area. So that's very exciting. So for school safety, during the reporting period, officers had 38 documented school visits. These visits range from conducting speed watch in school zones during pickup and drop-off times, routine visits, and presentation to high school students regarding road safety. There were significant challenges faced with being involved in the schools due to COVID-19 and the flooding. And we're very hopeful that we're going to have a stronger school presence in the 2022-2023 school year. I have met recently with the school district, and we have some plans looking into the new year as to how we're going to accomplish that. And I'll leave the CPO office to Marlene to present.
Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Okay, so for the community policing office, with regards to our volunteer engagement, during that time we had 8 volunteers who were active, and they were able to log 291 hours. That is down significantly from what we're normally able to accomplish, but for a period of that time, even I was redeployed to City Hall to help out with the flooding. Those hours were logged within the Speedwatch program, some bike patrols, vehicle patrols during the daytime, and some office. Our evening volunteer patrols are not running at the moment, but we're hoping that that will change over once there's some more pandemic restrictions removed. The sort of a high percentage of my activities have been through collaboration, and lots of those have been associated with social responses within the community. So through the Nickel Valley and Shelter and Support Society, we have the Endeavour to Be Better program, and that was active through the whole time of the pandemic as well as the floods. Staff were actually initially relocated to Kamloops to help out with when citizens were evacuated. So that was helpful, I think, as far as part of the community response. And since the return, they have been working with bylaws and the public works, and they were been able to clean up the sort of stuff that was left behind from the summer and the fall within one of the local parks here within Nicola Park. I think it's been seen that this program has had a benefit within the community, and certainly there's an express benefit from the participants of that program. So we've moved forward with a civil forfeiture grant with that, and that program is also moving forward with a social enterprise project so that they can be more sustainable in the coming years in our community. The shelter also is a collaboration with the same society, but it was closed for a portion of the time as staff and guests were evacuated. Currently there's 25 people staying at that shelter. on a nightly basis. They haven't had to send anyone away, but they are using their overflow area.
Can I ask how many bids they normally are registered for? I thought it was 2022.
There's 17 rooms. Some people staying within the shelter are couples, so there may be some rooms that have a couple of people. And then there's an overflow area. There are some really significant concerns around staffing that facility. We've been working with BC Housing on that. There's been a recent pay increase that's coming into effect. We're looking at offering benefits in the future just to get some sort of more long-term employment and people looking at that as being a legitimate job within our community. We're even working with Work BC on an idea for a virtual job fair so that we can get that. If this is an important thing in our community, we really do need staff to work at that facility. Some of those things are covered under our Strengthening Communities grant, so we've been moving forward with that. The peer mentorship program is definitely a part of that, as well as establishing a situation table, which just in the last couple of days we've been able to move forward on that, and we're looking forward to that sort of training for that may even start in March of 2022. And so then really we're hoping to see some lifting of restrictions related to the pandemic so that will allow us to rebuild our volunteer base in the community. That's been a real challenge, and as part of that I'm going to be working with my police partner to be redoing security clearances and things like that, so I'm looking forward to that when we move forward.
Thanks. And Josh, can you give us an update on your staffing level?
Yes, Mayor Brown. We're doing very well staffing wise. We are full with constables. The only piece for staffing for our detachment is we are short in our NCO ranks, so our supervisor positions. But there is a plan in place with the RCMP to get those filled, and we're just waiting for that to move forward.
Okay. Any comments, questions, concerns? Accolades. Councillor Christopherson.
Yeah, just going back to the drug situation in Merritt. Is it mainly the actual dealers on the street and the users that are being identified and dealt with, or does it go higher up the chain into the distribution networks?
Sorry.
No problem. I don't want to disclose too much. We're not targeting users because we don't want to criminalize people that are addicted to drugs. We are targeting street level dealers and I would say the tier above them as well. So we're trying to disrupt the illicit drug trade as much as we can in Merritt, but we don't want to criminalize the people that are using because they're just, it's unfortunate. So.
Yeah, and I would presume the bulk of it comes from the lower mainland, or is there quite a chain going into Alberta as well?
I won't disclose exactly where it's coming from, but it's coming from all over the place, unfortunately. Yeah.
And have we found quite a difficulty with impure drugs? Ones that have not safe to use. Well, not that any of it's safe to use. But
yeah. So what they're finding right now currently is that a lot of the fentanyl is mixed with benzodiazepines, and I believe that what that does is it just causes the user to not know exactly what's in their drug, and they overdose easier. And so we are seeing a lot of naloxone being used in the community by our users, which isn't a good thing. So.
Thank you.
And the kits can now be picked up CPO office, is that?
No, so that's part of this pilot project that we're working toward. So the goal is to make the detachment and hopefully the community police office a distribution area. Currently they can go to Ask Wellness to pick up the naloxone kits, and we just like to expand that in the community so that we can hand those kits out, especially when we bring some of our vulnerable clients into cells. to make sure that they have what they need when they leave.
Okay. Did you, Councillor Richard?
I was only just curious about the kits. There's some people who don't know how to use them, like me, and I was just wondering if would people be taught how to use them, like, and find out more through this program, or?
Yes. So part of the pilot project is that our officers would be trained in handing the kits out, and part of that training is, I believe, they will actually be giving the person an iPad to watch a video that teaches them how to administer the naloxone. It's very simple. You basically fill up a syringe, stick it anywhere, and put it into the person that's overdosing. But there is a video that comes with that teaches them that they have to watch before they're given a kit. So.
Okay. Well, thanks for that.
I'm glad to hear that you don't know how to use them. I had a couple of questions, and I think for Marlene, the Civic Forfeiture Office, what is that? You've got a grant application for Endeavour to Be Better.
Yeah, so it's actually almost more of a Josh question, but I'll answer it and you can tell me if I'm correct.
Okay.
So proceeds of crime or civil forfeiture is part of the whole investigative and enforcement part of the provincial policing. And when, to put it in terms, when somebody is found to have proceeds of crime, so if that's drug related, whatever, and maybe the funds, the money is taken, or vehicles or homes or whatever, that goes into this this department. They then run their department from those funds, as well as issue grants out into the community, and they issue priorities for certain fiscal years. And this year, one of their priorities was on peer-based supports within the communities.
And can you give me a little rundown again about what the Endeavour to Be Better program is?
So that is a day program. It's the only program in our town currently that runs 7 days a week, only social support program that runs 7 days a week. People can drop into the house, which is beside 7-Eleven at 2038 Nicola. I think it opens at 8 in the morning and goes till about 4. In the morning, they offer food and a morning check-in. So that's sort of your morning connection, check-in, how's your day going, that kind of a thing. And you can check in with peers. When I dropped in this morning to pick up some paperwork, the staff there were making breakfast so that there isn't anybody in our community that goes without. Then later on in the day, and depending on how certain people are feeling, participants have an ability to join in on a work experience program. So there are several people in there that are developing some work skills, as well as just having a purpose to get up in the morning and a way of filling their time. It's our understanding that peers tell us that when you have an addiction, there's a real battle on how are you going to fill that time if it's not reaching for that addiction. So we give them these ability and sort of entry-level jobs. They go out with a peer support person. This morning that person was Trent, and he would take them out. They sometimes do graffiti removal they've done in partnership with the city. They do garbage removal. They are starting their social enterprise program. That's going to be junk. They've recently purchased a vehicle, things like that. So it's just that ability. I think they're looking at working closer with bylaws in the next coming up, and being a part of helping our city prepare for the fire season, that kind of stuff.
And when you mentioned the building next to 7-Eleven, was that not the original shelter?
It was.
Okay. Is it still used as a shelter?
No.
Okay.
No. There's 2 programs from that society that work out of there right now, but the shelter is the 3rd program and it's separate.
Okay. Thank you. Do you have questions? No? Great. Yeah, she did say, gave me a good understanding, because I know you've talked about it before, but I know it's expanded and we haven't really heard much since the last time you came to tell us. So, a while back. So any other questions or comments? Okay,
Just a bit of a follow-up, Marlene, with, to do with the volunteer, not the volunteers, but the clients, I guess, would be the best word, that work in the endeavor to be better. About how many participants do they get on average that go out and actually do some community type of work?
So to give an idea of number of people involved, the latest monthly report shows that they have 56 different clients that have checked in with that over the course of a month. Now that's for your morning check-ins or work experience or whatever, but those are 56 touch points. They take about 6 at a time that they're taking out and in the community to do the work experience programs, because they go out with often just one peer. So to have a crew of any larger than that, you're not going to be able to give the feedback. You're not going to be able to watch for things and safety issues. So really active work participants, probably 6 at a time.
So is that 56 separate people or?
Yes, it is.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I had no idea it was that large. Good, thank you. Do you feel it's been quite successful?
I think that it is, because so if I think about it for myself, I have a group to check in with in the morning. There's somebody that would notice if I didn't show up for work in the morning, things like that. There's somebody notices if they don't show up. So that's their community. And I think that's very beneficial for us all to have.
Is there any particular age group that is most prevalent?
I can't actually answer to that. This is an adult-based program. But I have seen young adults, and I have seen seniors who have been working within the program. And definitely this morning when I went in, I was speaking with a gentleman, and he's definitely a senior. So I think it's just across the board.
Yeah. Good, thank you.
well, I just want to ask, I know that you've given us numbers here, but we used to get a report on those kind of numbers every so often, quarterly, whatever. And if you can get those to us without putting too much effort into it, I'd really appreciate it. It's good to have the comparison. I'm a numbers person, so I can see rather than hearing a lot better. So I'd appreciate that. That's an age thing, huh? No comment on that. Well, thank you, Josh and Marlene. So I'm not quite sure. We do have another question. Councillor Richard.
It wasn't so much a question as it was a comment. I think a few months ago, sometime maybe in the summer, we had some stuff for the Endeavour to Be Better program where they were showing the truck and the groups going out and doing yard work and things, where they were going out for a few hours at a time. And it was Mark that did the presentation in a separate visit, and we saw some positive responses to work being done and people gaining skills and just encouragement, I think, because some of these people aren't given those opportunities, and I think it felt them maybe empowered, maybe some confidence to enter the workforce, maybe some encouragement. But that was last year, definitely before fires. So that's been some time, but yeah, because they had a pickup or something that they were doing yard work with last year, I think, maybe.
Thanks. Did you want to respond?
Yeah, so I think that initially they were using Mark's truck and a trailer that he had done, but now they've moved beyond that, and the program has purchased its own vehicle. I think that there was a grant through Walmart that was used for that, and there's been some support and funding through tech as well as a individual donor that he identified it on social media.
Yeah, okay. That must be where I had seen that then. Thank you.
I had a question and I lost it. It was for Josh, and it's something to do with, during the flood, things were kind of chaotic. There was also, before the flood, we were struggling with crime. And that comparison, is there a comparison to the crime previously to now? I know you said that downtown was, the break-ins were, yeah. Can you speak a little bit more to that?
Yes. Yeah, we've definitely seen an increase in property crime downtown since the floods. And I'm going to equate that to the Phase 4 area and some of the reports that we've been receiving in that area. Crime in its totality is very similar to what it's always been in Merritt. I haven't seen we haven't noticed a huge increase or decrease in file load or workload for the membership at this point.
Okay.
For the next police committee meeting, I'll bring in the stats
Okay.
for that so that we can look at the different stats of how many files we're taking. If you guys want a breakdown of locations as well, provincial versus municipal, highway versus, we can provide that for sure.
Councillor Christopherson.
It's more out of curiosity, I guess, but with the break-ins that are occurring in the Phase 4 area, are they largely in the abandoned, well, not abandoned, but ones that are empty at the present time, or because you hear various things that when people aren't there, they're broken into, or it's when properties are being repaired, and same thing, that nobody's there. Is it getting worse?
I don't know if it's getting worse. I think it's getting reported to us now, and we've noticed that over, I would say, the last 8 weeks. We've seen a lot of these type of reports. They are in abandoned properties, and something that we've noticed on the files is a lot of these, it's not that people's doors are getting kicked in or people's windows are getting broken into and thieves are climbing inside. People are leaving their homes unlocked. They're leaving things out. They're leaving things visible, and they're going missing. Or people are walking in through front doors. They're walking in through back doors, open windows, things like that. I think if the community takes steps to secure their properties, and if we can get 24-hour security to drive around, it's going to be a huge deterrent for people to go in there. I do think they're crimes of opportunity, and I don't think people are planning so much ahead to target these areas. I think we have a lot of clientele that happen to walk through those areas. They see a vacant property, they try a door, they open the door, they go in, and they're going to take what they see inside.
So are they largely in homes that are being worked on, but,
Yes.
but nobody's home?
Yeah, we have no reports of homes being broken into where people are home. It's all abandoned. It's all properties where people are either repairing them or they've completely abandoned them, and they check on them after 3-4 weeks and they find that somebody's gone in them. So.
Okay, good, thank you.
Yeah, a lot of opportunity.
There's a lot, yeah.
There was one question I had, totally unrelated to your report, but it's to do with the CMC contract. Just talking, maybe that's an item that I could put on the closed session. It's about personnel. You've got a comment, Greg. You have to tell me what you're thinking.
Just thinking, Your Worship, that if you want to bring anything up in the, there is a closed session scheduled later with this agenda as item 8, but because under the community charter rules, if you want to close the meeting, you have to say exactly why you're doing it. So if you could plan anything that you would like to add to that agenda so that we can make sure there's proper grounds under the charter to close that, and that you close the meeting under the correct grounds.
Thank you for the reminder. So we've got security of the property only on the agenda for today.
Is it something that could wait till the next police
Yes.
committee meeting?
Yes, it is.
Okay, let's plan on that then, Your Worship.
Okay. So any other items? Then it looks like this part of the meeting is finished, and we'll move into closed. And I want a mover and a seconder that the meeting be closed to press and public under section 91D of the Community Charter, security of the property of the municipality. Moved and seconded, okay. Etchart, Christofferson. All in favor? Opposed, none, carried.